So much during the past few days to help us coordinate this marvellous air display for you. Without the support of so many local sponsors and supporters, absolutely impossible to mount such an adventurous air show as this. And we let them fly off to the
Warfare, aviation, flying. We're now into the first early days of air shows. Very, very earliest form of air shows. They're starting off from our right-hand side. With the smoke now on. You can see the Aerosuperbatics Wingwalkers from your right-hand side. The girls already up on the wing and the pilots get ready to start their amazing display. Let's give a big Bournemouth welcome to the Aerosuperbatics Wingwalkers. On the top wings, waving at you. Do wave back, they can see you, even though they appear to be travelling so fast. Stood on the top of a wing, and now just turning away with that beautiful biplane Stearman, just turning away with us back to our crowd front. What I hinted on there was the history and the start of aviation air shows. This aircraft, and indeed this style of flying, wing walking, came from the huge benefits and increases seen with aviation, but after the Great War. After the Great War, lots of aircraft were spare and left available for anybody, any young gun to buy up and fly. And indeed, between the wars, these aircraft, pilot skills, and no shortage at all, with lots of people flying, wing walking, and indeed, impromptu air shows was very much a thing that anybody could join in. Impromptu air shows being just a small group, two aircraft, maybe one, or maybe even a singleton, just landing on a local road or at a local newfound airport, drumming up trade, taking people for trips and rides, and just throwing the aeroplane around the sky. Perhaps fewer rules and regulations as there are around these days. Anybody can rock up, jump in the back, go for a trip. Indeed, it was all these clever flights and impromptu displays really expanded the growth or love of aviation throughout countries that were just getting to grips after the war, and now aviation and flying were becoming commonplace throughout the country and all over Europe and the United States. Again, things with air shows took a bit of things quieted down again with the arrival of the Second World War. I think even after the Second World War, when air shows were starting up again, this vintage era, this barnstorming era, the era of just making it up as you go along. Indeed, what we're doing here with these the Wingwalkers stems from an impressive original display dreamt up by a chap called Bournemouth. If we look out to our front, I think the girls have swiveled on their safety harness. There we go, you're just swiveling the right way back up again. We're flying upside down before. So keep your eyes on the girls as they swivel and move around. Now, in 1918, a chap called Bournemouth came up with the stunt that was guaranteed to wow the crowd. Indeed, without safety wires or harnesses that benefit the safety of the girls today, Bournemouth was walking out on the wing of his aeroplane, and either to fix something or indeed just to wow and thrill the crowds. He then was even walking between two aircraft, no safety, walking from one wing to another. This, with his friend and aptly named colleague Ethel Dare, became the start of the stunting and bunting and an amazing wing walking tradition that we see alive and well today. So look now at the girls at the top there, legs high in the air as the negative G pushes them over the top, and now the positive G crashes them into their harness. characteristic roar of that engine. It is, in fact, so that rasping noise actually comes from the the propeller tips of the huge, big radial cylinder engine of the Boeing Stearman, the aircraft that Wingwalkers are flying for us today. They're very big, huge engines, radial engines. And this aircraft, the Boeing Stearman, first flew in 1933. It's affectionately known as a Stearman. It was the original company name. Boeing did buy the company, but it stayed a Stearman. Such was the affection that this essentially training aircraft was held in by its pilots and instructors. Used extensively, so much though that some 10,000 Stearmans have been built since by the end of the war. The robust nature of these aircraft meant they were extremely popular, and indeed possibly attributes to their continued use today. Favourable handling, benign handling skills, no obvious biases. The tandem seating allowed the student to be at the front, the instructor to be at the rear, and both pilot and student would then try and learn to fly this amazing aircraft. These aircraft still in that great... These ones here flown by Aerosuperbatics, specially modified. Those days, the instructor and the student would be learning to fly this aircraft with open cockpit, keeping the aircraft in trim, flying it according to the best airflow. Again, the pilots could sense the airflow around the aircraft, no fancy instruments, just feeling the airflow moving around their head in the cockpit as they realise that the aircraft is flying sideways and out of trim, or is it being flown expertly and beautifully. Now, the Aerosuperbatics team, these are not the stock Stearmans that old flying students would have been used to in the past. These aircraft have been boosted and given extra power. So instead of 220 horsepower, they got some 450 horsepower. Born and bred in the Cotswolds, very close to the former Royal Flying Corps Renton base, where they are based. Katie comes from farming stock as formerly a design student, but also rather fell in love with the circus and is a active arts and trained trapeze artist. Flew his first solo just after his 17th birthday. But look to your left and right now as they're closing now for the cross. So Martin's also always enjoys flying vintage aircraft so well and entertain the crowds. Leader of the formation, Dave Barrell, is again another very experienced vintage rising. Now going to fly yet another climbing, diving. Are they going to go for the barrel roll, the loop, or is it going to be the bumps, the roller coaster ups and downs? Wow, look at Now moving out to our right hand side there. Girls, very wisely, but just imagine if it was you on a roller coaster attached to an aircraft sat on top of the wing, you'd be having a ball. Daring part of the air show. Those with binoculars and very powerful cameras might indeed see as the girls now fasten their harness. Give them a wave, everybody. They're waving at you, right to left. Just a... This is the last pass, so let's give them a big Bournemouth cheer, a big wave, a big thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the Aerosuperbatics Wingwalkers.
That was outstanding, Andy. What a terrific show they put on. I never, ever get tired of seeing that. Absolutely fabulous. And if you spotted very closely, you might well... Arriving in their classic Delta formation to pull up into the Delta loop. This can be a challenging manoeuvre, but I hope in these conditions today they're not too badly affected. Of course, during the day we always get a bit of a onshore breeze turning up, and that helps to keep us a bit cool as well. What they're going to do now is just drift off slightly to the left-hand side, leading the aircraft, Sid Shirley, calling all the shots. He's Royal Air Force Squadron Leader. He's flown the Hawk and the Tornado F3 in operational service, and he's currently an instructor on the Grob Tutor. That's the little lightweight basic trainer aircraft that all three services use to introduce their pilots to flying. He's got well in excess of 4,000 hours now, and has led the team since its inception in this particular format. Coming back now from your left-hand side, bringing the formation round for an underside pass. As they pull away, you'll see Raven 5 there pulling away distinctively so that he can come in and do a few manoeuvres himself and just show you the expertise that he has to offer, and also the flexibility of this particular aircraft. Very graceful, comfortable aircraft. This is good touring aircraft, lightweight, and you've got plenty of gas in it to get across the continent. And again, like so many kit planes, the sort of thing you can reasonably afford. I say reasonably, all depends, of course, just how demanding the budget is. But a lot of these guys putting in a lot of their spare time and energy, but keep your eyes on a barrel roll. And that is when they pull up and they're trying to get around the outside of a massive great oak barrel. And this can be quite demanding, certainly for the outside men, as they do their best to replicate the maneuvers of the leader, but while staying in exactly the same position at the same time. During that position and these formations, now Raven 5 coming back in for a series of rolls and also a half Cuban. You'll hear lots of different descriptions during the course of the day, particularly when the unlimited aerobatic pilot's coming. But a lot of the time you will also talk about the 45s. You've got a straight display line in front of you, left to right, that's the big red boys. And then we have an axis out in front, pretty much out towards HMS Diamond, the B axis. And then now and again the pilots midway. Now here coming in from the left is Ravens 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3 I should say, and 4. Now forming the cyclone around the formation. What do you do here? A great camera opportunity coming up for the looping bombers. Flying Raven 3 is Barry Gwinnett. He flew with 2 in another display team many years back. He's got lots of hours flying out of small farm strips and has in excess of 1,800 hours now. Runs his own heating engineering company, the epitome of calm within the team. Here they come now. Keep your eyes peeled as Sid leads them back in to dead center. Stand by now for the burst of the top. And the team break into the beautiful bomb burst. Keep your eyes peeled now. Keep your eyes peeled on the left-hand side now as the 3 ship, led by Sid, comes back in again for more death-defying loops and rolls. And just looking magnificent, the sun glinting off their beautiful paintwork. Putting in that twist there, threading the needle as they describe it. Ravens 4 and 5 now in battle position, going through their familiar format, the battle loop. As they come out of this, their breakout. And that buzz there was Sid calling the break. Magnificent. Expertly done yet again. Pulling up now, of course, number 2, replicating every little twinge, listening out for the calls as they put this beautiful arcing, rolling maneuver around the outside of a great big barrel. Performers on the air display circuit are becoming very popular as 1, 2 and 3 come in. They go up, the airspeed is falling off, they're almost down to 0, and he calls for a big bit of rudder. That is the turn. Working hard there to keep you informed what's going on. The Team Raven Heart. Looking absolutely. Just magnificent. It doesn't get much better than that, does it? But here's a challenging maneuver coming up next, and that means Sid can call the next fabulous maneuver, which is called the Twizzles. Oh, really super. Looks good to me. Stand by now. They're going to pull up very shortly. And there they go. The Team Raven fan break.
So lovely topside shot there. Engines back, throttling back. Lovely topside shot. Bit of photograph opportunity for everyone, I think. Beautiful welcoming start to this wonderful, nice, smoothly flown pair of the Strikemaster pair. Aircraft now moving out to our left-hand side there. That first mid-speed pass there, probably flown about 300 knots there. Again, so a huge Welsh heritage, and they're very proud and loving the fact that they're flying all over the UK on these displays, and indeed really, really chuffed to be back here. Now as the Strike pair. Mark flew here last year as a singleton Strikemaster, but this year with 2 aircraft. He's got a suitably trained number 2, Ollie, as a Hawk instructor, teaches formation over at RFL. But here we now, moving into the rolling barrel roll arrival, a kind of a little twizzle there as they move in towards our crowd front. For deep maintenance for the Royal Navy historic flight also. So to our front then, pulling up now with Ollie on the right hand side, another twizzle, roll under, pulling under. Very popular manoeuvre that, and it just shows that glinting paint scheme of the aircraft. Now on the right hand side of that lead aircraft, the number 2 aircraft is in the conflict, the Battle of Bournemouth, and indeed still sport the original bullet holes. So look to your front, beautiful break for the stripe pair break. This aircraft is derived. Matching pass there as they perform the equivalent of their cyclone. The aircraft, you can see in that planform, straight edge with the tip tanks. That straight wing means that it generates the lift. Obviously with that single jet engine it generates a fair bit of lift, and indeed you can see from the underside you've got the hard points on the underwing, which are the points for the Strikemaster, which was the export derivative of the JP5. You can see those tip tanks for the extra fuel, and on the underside again now those hard points for the light weapons of both machine guns, cannon and rockets. They understood that they had a good aircraft on their hands. This Strikemaster was the export version, designed in the light utility light battle of Bournemouth. And here we are, you can see that Strikemaster derivative, those hard points, with extra wing fuel, and that agility. Mark Petrie, the leader, indeed is the owner of one of the aircraft, and indeed runs the running the Strikemaster flying 787 fairly recently, flying for British Airways. He's flown all sorts of Royal Air Force aircraft, all training aircraft, Chipmunk, Jet Provost and the Hawk, and then really enjoyed the co-owning this display Strikemaster. The number 2 pilot. He's an instructor from RFL, as I said, former Tornado GR4 pilot. He's flown all the training aircraft, really loves this weekend flying, really loves the display flying. A lovely chap, all round good egg, and certainly he was a talented Tornado pilot. Let's give the Strikemaster pair a Bournemouth farewell.